First contact. The sleek celestial ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, its iridescent hull reflecting the golden hues of the setting sun. Inside, Zara stood before a holographic mirror, making final adjustments to her appearance. As the official diplomat of the Celestial Concordat, she knew the importance of first impressions, especially when dealing with a species as unpredictable as humans. Zara's skin shimmered with a faint blue luminescence, a trait common among her people. Her large, almond-shaped eyes, deep as the cosmos and speckled with what looked like stars, blinked rapidly as she took in her reflection. She wore a flowing garment that seemed to be made of living light, shifting and changing with her every movement. "Ambassador," a melodic voice chimed, "we are approaching the landing site." Zara took a deep breath, steeling herself for the task ahead. "Thank you, Lyra," she replied to the ship's AA. "Let's hope these humans are as fascinating as our reports suggest." As the ship touched down in the heart of New Geneva, the newly established capital of Earth's United Nations, a crowd had already gathered. Humans of all shapes, sizes, and colors pressed against the security barriers, their faces a mix of awe, curiosity, and trepidation. Among the crowd stood Jake Cooper, a young engineer who had been working on Earth's interstellar communication array. Unlike many of his colleagues who viewed the arrival of the Celestials with suspicion, Jake was brimming with excitement. He had always dreamed of first contact, of the day humanity would no longer be alone in the cosmos. The ship's entrance arched open, and a ramp of pure energy materialized. Zara stepped out, her presence immediately commanding the attention of every human present. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd, followed by an awestruck silence. Jake found himself unable to look away. Zara's beauty was otherworldly, quite literally, but it wasn't just her physical appearance that captivated him. There was an aura of wisdom and kindness that seemed to emanate from her very being. As Zara descended the ramp, Earth's dignitaries stepped forward to greet her. Jake noticed how they seemed to struggle to maintain their composure, some avoiding direct eye contact, others staring a bit too intently. He couldn't blame them. The Celestial's presence was overwhelming. "Greetings, people of Earth," Zara's voice rang out, clear and melodious. "I am Zara, ambassador of the Celestial Concordat. We come in peace and friendship, hoping to forge a bond between our civilizations." The crowd erupted in cheers and applause, the initial shock giving way to excitement. As the official welcoming ceremony began, Jake found himself inching closer to the front of the crowd, driven by an insatiable curiosity. Hours later, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the official proceedings came to an end, Jake noticed Zara standing alone near a beautiful fountain in the plaza. The other humans, despite their earlier enthusiasm, seemed hesitant to approach her directly. Jake saw his chance. Taking a deep breath, he walked up to the Celestial Ambassador. "Excuse me, Ambassador Zara," he said, his voice surprisingly steady despite his racing heart. Zara turned, her starry eyes focusing on Jake with an intensity that nearly took his breath away. "Yes, human," she replied, her tone curious and not unkind. "I'm Jake Cooper," he introduced himself, extending his hand before realizing she might not be familiar with the gesture. "I'm an engineer working on our interstellar communication array. I was wondering if you might have a moment to discuss some of the technical aspects of celestial communication technology." Zara's expression shifted from polite interest to genuine curiosity. "You're the first human to approach me directly," she said, a hint of amusement in her voice. "And with such an intriguing question, no less. Please, Jake Cooper, tell me more about your work." As Jake began to explain his projects, he noticed a small crowd gathering at a distance, watching their interaction with a mix of surprise and interest. He realized that his simple act of striking up a conversation might have just broken down the first barrier between humans and Celestials. The conversation flowed easily, moving from communication technology to the nature of space-time, and then to more personal topics. Jake found Zara to be not only brilliant, but also warm and engaging. For her part, Zara was fascinated by Jake's quick mind and his ability to think outside conventional boundaries. "Your species continues to surprise me, Jake," Zara said after a particularly insightful comment from the human. "I must admit, I had some preconceptions about humans before arriving here. You're helping me see things from a new perspective." Jake felt a warmth spread through his chest at her words. "I'm glad," he replied with a smile. "I think there's so much our species can learn from each other. The possibilities are endless." As they continued to talk, neither of them noticed the worried glances exchanged by some of the human officials, nor the excited whispers spreading through the crowd. The sight of a human and a celestial engaged in animated conversation was causing quite a stir. Suddenly, a commotion from the far side of the plaza caught their attention. A group of protesters had broken through the security cordon, waving signs with anti-alien slogans. "Humans only," they chanted. "Earth for Earthlings." Jake instinctively stepped in front of Zara, his body tensing. But the celestial ambassador gently moved beside him, her face serene despite the hostility directed at her. "It's all right, Jake," she said softly. "Fear of the unknown is a universal constant. It's how we address that fear that defines us." As security forces moved to contain the protesters, Zara stepped forward, her luminescent form drawing all eyes to her. "I understand your concerns," she addressed the crowd, her voice carrying easily across the plaza. "Change can be frightening, especially when it comes from the stars. But I assure you, the celestial concordat comes in friendship. We do not seek to replace or subjugate, but to cooperate and grow together." Her words seemed to have a calming effect, the tension in the air noticeably dissipating. Even some of the protesters lowered their signs, looking somewhat abashed. Jake watched in awe as Zara continued to speak, her words weaving a vision of a future where humans and celestials worked side by side for the betterment of both civilizations. He couldn't help but feel that he was witnessing a pivotal moment in human history. As the situation diffused and the crowd began to disperse, Zara turned back to Jake. "Thank you for your company this evening, Jake Cooper," she said with a smile that seemed to light up the night. "I look forward to more conversations with you and your fellow humans." Jake nodded, still a bit dazed by everything that had transpired. "The pleasure was all mine, Ambassador. I hope we'll have the chance to talk again soon." As Zara was escorted back to her ship and Jake made his way home, neither of them could shake the feeling that something significant had begun that night. Little did they know that their chance encounter would set in motion a chain of events that would change the fate of both their species and the galaxy at large. In the following days, news of Jake's interaction with Zara spread rapidly. He found himself thrust into the spotlight, interviewed by countless media outlets about his experience talking with the celestial ambassador. Many praised his bravery and initiative, while others warned of the dangers of getting too close to an alien species whose true intentions were unknown. Meanwhile, in the secure compound where the celestial delegation was housed, Zara sat in quiet contemplation. Her encounter with Jake had stirred something within her, a feeling she couldn't quite name. As she gazed out at the Earth's night sky, so different from the view from her homeworld, she wondered what the coming days would bring. Little did either of them know that far beyond Earth's solar system, ancient forces were stirring. The arrival of the Celestials on Earth had not gone unnoticed, and not all eyes watching from the cosmos were friendly. As Jake and Zara's worlds began to intertwine, a shadow loomed on the horizon, threatening to engulf them all. The stage was set for a tale of unlikely friendship, interstellar diplomacy, and the indomitable spirit of humanity in the face of cosmic challenges. The future of Earth and the celestial concordat hung in the balance, with Jake and Zara unknowingly at the center of it all. Quantum entanglement. The holographic display flickered to life in Jake's cramped apartment, filling the room with a soft, ethereal glow. Jake's fingers danced across the air, manipulating complex equations and 3D models of subatomic particles. He had been working tirelessly for weeks, driven by an idea that had come to him during his conversation with Zara. Quantum entanglement on a macroscopic scale, he muttered to himself, his eyes bloodshot from lack of sleep. If I can just stabilize the field. A gentle chime interrupted his work. It was a message from Dr. Elara Chen, his supervisor at the Global Science Initiative, GSI. Jake, the celestial delegation is visiting our facility today. Your presence is required. Jake's heart raced. He hadn't seen Zara since their first encounter, though her image had been plastered across every news outlet on the planet. He quickly freshened up and headed to the GSI headquarters, his mind buzzing with both excitement and anxiety. The GSI complex was a marvel of human engineering, a gleaming structure of smart glass and graphene that seemed to defy gravity. As Jake entered the main atrium, he saw a group of celestials, their luminescent forms standing out among the human scientists, and there at the center was Zara. Their eyes met across the room, and for a moment, the bustling activity around them seemed to fade away. Zara smiled, a gentle curve of her lips that sent an inexplicable warmth through Jake's chest. "Jake Cooper," Zara said as she approached him, her voice carrying a hint of something Jake couldn't quite identify. "Was it pleasure? Relief? It's good to see you again." "Likewise, Ambassador," Jake replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "I hope you've been finding your stay on Earth enlightening." Zara's star-filled eyes twinkled with amusement. "Oh, it has been illuminating, to say the least. Your species continues to fascinate me." Their conversation was interrupted by Dr. Chen, who ushered the group towards the quantum communications lab. As they walked, Jake couldn't help but notice the way other humans reacted to Zara's presence. Some still seemed awestruck, while others appeared wary or even hostile. In the lab, Dr. Chen began explaining humanity's latest advancements in quantum entanglement. Jake, however, found his attention divided between the presentation and Zara's reactions. He noticed how her luminescence seemed to pulse with interest at certain points, particularly when Dr. Chen mentioned the challenges they faced in maintaining entanglement over long distances. Suddenly, an idea struck Jake. Without thinking, he blurted out, "What if we're approaching this all wrong? Instead of trying to maintain the entanglement, what if we embrace its collapse?" The room fell silent. Dr. Chen looked at Jake with a mix of surprise and annoyance. "Jake, this isn't the time for..." But Zara interrupted, her voice filled with curiosity. "Please let him continue. I'd like to hear this perspective." Encouraged, Jake stepped forward, his hands moving animatedly as he spoke. "We've been trying to prevent decoherence, right? But what if we use the collapse itself as a means of communication? A controlled cascade of quantum collapses could carry information faster than we ever thought possible." As Jake explained his theory, he noticed something extraordinary. Zara's body began to glow more intensely, and tendrils of light seemed to reach out from her, intertwining with the holographic displays around them. The humans in the room gasped, taking a step back, but Jake stood his ground, mesmerized. "Jake Cooper," Zara said, her voice resonating at a frequency that made the air itself vibrate, "you may have just stumbled upon something that has eluded both our species for millennia." What followed was a whirlwind of activity. Jake and Zara, along with a team of human and celestial scientists, threw themselves into developing Jake's idea. Days blended into nights as they worked, the barriers between their species seeming to dissolve in the face of shared scientific passion. During one late-night session, Jake and Zara found themselves alone in the lab. The holographic equations hung in the air around them like constellations, casting a soft glow on their faces. "You continue to surprise me, Jake," Zara said softly. "There's something about the way your mind works. It's unlike anything I've encountered before." Jake felt a blush creep up his neck. "I could say the same about you, Zara. Working with you, learning about your perspective on the universe, it's changing the way I see everything." There was a moment of charged silence, the air between them seeming to crackle with unspoken emotions. Jake found himself leaning closer, drawn by an inexplicable force. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red warning lights bathed the lab in an ominous glow. "Warning. Unauthorized quantum surge detected. unknown entity attempting to breach Earth's defensive grid. Jake and Zara exchanged alarmed glances. They rushed to the central command center, where chaos reigned. Holographic displays showed a massive energy signature approaching Earth at impossible speeds. "It's the Void Collective," Zara whispered, her luminescence dimming with what Jake recognized as fear. "They found us." As if on cue, every screen in the command center flickered, displaying a terrifying visage. A being of pure darkness, its form seeming to absorb light itself, addressed the stunned humans and Celestials. "People of Earth and envoys of the Celestial Concordat," the being's voice grated like galaxies colliding. "Your pitiful alliance has been noted and found wanting. Prepare for assimilation into the void. Resistance is amusing, but futile." The transmission cut off, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. Jake turned to Zara, seeing the weight of cosmic knowledge in her starry eyes. "Zara," he said, his voice steadier than he felt, "what aren't you telling us? What is the Void Collective?" Zara's form seemed to flicker, as if the very mention of the Void Collective caused her pain. "They are the antithesis of life and light, Jake. A coalition of species that have embraced entropy and seek to hasten the heat death of the universe. We've been at war with them for eons, across countless galaxies." Jake's mind reeled at the implications. Humanity had just taken its first steps into the galactic community, and now they were facing an enemy of unimaginable power and malevolence. But as he looked around at the determined faces of his fellow humans and the resolute expressions of the Celestials, Jake felt a surge of defiance. Humanity had faced extinction-level threats before and survived. They wouldn't go down without a fight. "Then we'll just have to show them that light always triumphs over darkness," Jake said, squeezing Zara's hand reassuringly. "Together." Zara's luminescence brightened at his touch, her starry eyes meeting his with a mix of admiration and something deeper, something that sent a thrill through Jake's entire being. "Together," she agreed, her voice carrying the weight of cosmic promise. As the GSI facility erupted into frenzied preparation for the coming conflict, Jake and Zara stood side by side, their minds already racing with possibilities. Their budding connection, both personal and scientific, might just hold the key to saving not only Earth, but the entire galaxy from the encroaching void. Little did they know that their unlikely partnership would soon be tested in ways they could never have imagined, as the shadows of cosmic war loomed ever closer. The battle for the very nature of existence was about to begin, with humanity and the Celestials standing as the last bastion against the all-consuming dark. As news of the Void Collective's approach spread, Earth was plunged into a state of global emergency. Governments worldwide mobilized their militaries, while civilians alternated between panic and a grim determination to face whatever was coming. Jake found himself thrust into the heart of Earth's defense preparations. His breakthrough in quantum communications, combined with celestial technology, had become the cornerstone of humanity's strategy against the Void Collective. Working alongside Zara, Jake pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible in physics. They developed a prototype quantum beacon, a device that could potentially disrupt the Void Collective's dark energy weapons. As they worked, the connection between them deepened. Jake found himself captivated not just by Zara's otherworldly beauty, but by her brilliant mind and compassionate spirit. For her part, Zara was continually amazed by Jake's innovative thinking and unwavering optimism in the face of cosmic threats. One evening, as they took a rare break from their work, Jake and Zara stood on the roof of the GSI facility, gazing at the stars that now seemed fraught with both wonder and danger. "Jake," Zara said softly, her luminescence pulsing gently in the twilight, "there's something I need to tell you. Something about the nature of Celestials and our connection to the universe." Jake turned to her, sensing the weight of her words. "What is it, Zara?" Zara took a deep breath, her starry eyes seeming to reflect entire galaxies. "We Celestials were not just another alien species. We're beings of pure energy, manifestations of cosmic forces given consciousness." Jake's eyes widened as he processed this revelation. You mean you're not biological? Zara shook her head. Not in the way you understand it. Our forms, these bodies you see, they're just vessels we create to interact with physical beings like humans. Our true essence, it's part of the very fabric of space-time. As if to demonstrate, Zara's form began to shift. Her humanoid shape dissolved into a swirling vortex of light and energy, tendrils of luminescence reaching out to caress Jake's awestruck face. This is why the void fears us. Zara's voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere. We embody the creative forces of the universe, while they seek only entropy and destruction. Jake stood transfixed, overwhelmed by the cosmic beauty before him. Hesitantly, he reached out a hand, marveling as strands of pure energy twined around his fingers, sending tingles of warmth through his body. Zara, you're incredible, he breathed. Slowly, Zara reformed into her humanoid shape, but something had changed. The barrier between them, human and celestial, seemed to have thinned. Jake, Zara said, her voice trembling slightly, I've never felt this way about a physical being before. These emotions, they're new to me, overwhelming. Jake's heart raced. He stepped closer, drawn by an irresistible force. Zara, Their moment was interrupted by a deafening boom that shook the entire facility. Sirens blared as the night sky lit up with unearthly energies. They're here, Zara whispered, her form tensing. The Void Collective has begun its assault. As they raced back to the command center, Jake's mind whirled with everything he had just learned. Humanity wasn't just facing an alien invasion. They were caught in a war between cosmic forces beyond their comprehension. But as he looked at Zara, seeing the determination in her starry eyes, Jake felt a surge of hope. Together, they would face the darkness. Together, they would show the Void Collective that humanity and the Celestials were a force to be reckoned with. The battle for Earth, for the very nature of existence itself, was about to begin, and at its heart stood an unlikely pair, a human engineer and a cosmic being, bound by a connection that defied the laws of the universe itself. Quantum resonance revolution. The sky above Earth blazed with otherworldly energies as the Void Collective's assault began. Massive ships, if they could be called that, materialized in low orbit, grotesque structures that seemed to devour light itself, leaving pitch-black silhouettes against the stars. In the GSI's quantum lab, now serving as Earth's primary defense hub, Jake and Zara worked feverishly. Their hands danced over holographic interfaces, fine-tuning the experimental quantum beacon. If we can amplify the resonance frequency, Jake muttered, his eyes bloodshot from sleepless nights, we might be able to disrupt their dark energy weapons. Zara, her luminescent form pulsing with intense concentration, nodded. Yes, but we need to harmonize it with the cosmic background radiation. Otherwise, we risk tearing a hole in space-time itself. As they worked, Dr. Chen burst into the lab, her face pale. Jake, Zara, you need to see this. They followed her to the main control room, where a massive holographic display showed a live feed from orbit. The Void Collective ships were deploying what looked like massive, tentacled probes towards Earth's surface. They're targeting our planetary ley lines, Zara gasped, her starry eyes wide with horror. Ley lines? Jake asked, confused. You mean like in New Age pseudoscience? Zara shook her head. No, Jake. Ley lines are real. They're paths of concentrated quantum probability, natural conduits of cosmic energy that flow through celestial bodies. If the Void Collective taps into them, they could unravel the very fabric of our reality. Dr. Chen finished, her voice grim. Jake's mind raced. Wait, if these ley lines are conduits of cosmic energy, couldn't we use them to our advantage? To amplify our quantum beacon? Zara's form brightened with excitement. Jake, you're a genius. We could create a planetary-scale quantum resonance field. As they rushed back to the lab to modify their plans, alarms blared throughout the facility. The first of the void probes had made landfall. Outside, chaos reigned. The probe, a writhing mass of shadow and unlight, began to burrow into the ground. Wherever it touched, reality itself seemed to warp and fray. Military forces engaged the probe, but conventional weapons passed right through it. It was like trying to fight a nightmare with bullets. In the lab, Jake and Zara worked with frantic energy. They had interfaced their quantum beacon with Earth's geomagnetic field, using it as a makeshift ley line map. "We need more power," Jake growled in frustration. "The planetary field is too weak to achieve resonance." Zara hesitated for a moment, then made a decision. "I can amplify it," she said softly. "But Jake, you need to understand what this means." She explained quickly. As a celestial, a being of pure cosmic energy, she could serve as a conduit for the universe's fundamental forces. But doing so on this scale would mean sacrificing her physical form, possibly forever. Jake's heart clenched. "Zara, no, there has to be another way." Zara's luminescent hand caressed his cheek. "This is bigger than us, Jake. It's about saving not just Earth, but the very nature of existence." Before Jake could protest further, the facility shook violently. A void probe had reached the outskirts of the complex. With a look of determination, Zara moved to the center of the quantum beacon array. "Activate the sequence, Jake," she said, her voice filled with a mixture of fear and resolve. Tears streaming down his face, Jake initiated the quantum resonance protocol. Zara's form began to glow with increasing intensity, streams of cosmic energy pouring into her from the ley lines. The air crackled with power as Zara's humanoid shape dissolved into a swirling vortex of pure light. Jake shielded his eyes, the brightness almost unbearable. Suddenly, a beam of concentrated quantum energy shot from the array, piercing the sky. It connected with the planetary ley lines, creating a web of light that enveloped the Earth. The effect on the Void Collective was immediate and devastating. Their ships writhed in agony, the shadows that composed them beginning to dissipate. But the victory came at a cost. As the quantum resonance field stabilized, Zara's energy form began to fade. "Zara," Jake cried out, reaching for her. Her voice, now seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere, whispered in his mind. "Thank you, Jake, for showing me the true potential of humanity. Ilo." And then she was gone, her essence dispersed into the quantum field protecting Earth. As the Void Collective retreated, their forces scattered by Earth's newfound defense, Jake fell to his knees. They had won, but the price had been unimaginably high. In the days that followed, Earth celebrated its salvation, hailing Jake as a hero. But for Jake, the victory felt hollow. He threw himself into his work, determined to find a way to bring Zara back. Weeks turned into months. Jake's research into quantum physics and cosmic energy advanced by leaps and bounds. He began to understand the universe in ways no human ever had before. Then one night, as he worked alone in the lab, something extraordinary happened. The quantum field he had been experimenting with began to pulse with a familiar energy. A swirl of light coalesced before him, taking on a familiar humanoid shape. "Jake," Zara's voice echoed, weak but unmistakable. "Zara," Jake gasped, hardly daring to believe it. "How?" Her form flickered, still insubstantial. "Your work, your understanding of cosmic forces, it's creating a bridge. But I can't maintain this form for long." Jake's mind raced. "The quantum entanglement theory we were working on before the invasion. If I could find a way to entangle your cosmic energy with a physical anchor here on Earth." Zara's light pulsed with excitement. "Yes, but Jake, it would mean fundamentally altering your own quantum signature. The risks." "I don't care about the risks," Jake interrupted. "I'm not losing you again." What followed was a montage of feverish work. Jake, with occasional input from Zara's ephemeral form, pushed the boundaries of physics further than ever before. He developed a method to entangle his own quantum signature with Zara's cosmic energy, creating a stable bridge between the physical world and the cosmic realm she now inhabited. The final step was the riskiest. Jake would need to temporarily disperse his own consciousness into the quantum field, find Zara's essence, and guide her back. As he prepared the equipment for the final experiment, Jake felt a mix of terror and exhilaration. He was about to go where no human had gone before, into the very fabric of the cosmos. With a deep breath, he activated the quantum dispersion field. His consciousness expanded, catapulted into a realm of pure energy and infinite possibility. In this cosmic ocean, he called out for Zara. Time lost all meaning as he searched, his very being stretched across the universe. Just as he felt himself beginning to lose cohesion, he sensed a familiar presence. Zara. Their energies intertwined, and together they followed the quantum tether back to Earth, back to the anchor of Jake's physical form. With a blinding flash and a surge of power that short-circuited half the lab, Jake's consciousness slammed back into his body. And there, standing before him, was Zara, solid, real, and more radiant than ever. "Jake," she breathed, reaching out to touch his face with trembling fingers. "You did it. You brought me back." As they embraced, both of them weeping with joy, neither noticed the subtle changes. Jake's eyes now held a hint of cosmic depth, tiny galaxies swirling in their depths. And Zara, while still luminescent, seemed more solidly physical than before. Their journey had fundamentally altered them both, creating something entirely new, a perfect blend of human and celestial. As news of Zara's return spread, it became clear that the implications of Jake's breakthrough were staggering. He had not only found a way to bridge the gap between physical and cosmic realms, but had also potentially unlocked the key to humanity's evolution into a true spacefaring civilization. The celestial Concordat, astonished by this development, immediately called for a summit. Humanity, in one brilliant stroke, had proven itself to be far more than anyone had imagined. And at the center of it all stood Jake and Zara, their impossible love having quite literally changed the fate of the cosmos. As they stood together, looking out at the stars that no longer seemed so distant, Jake squeezed Zara's hand. "So," he said with a grin, "ready for our next adventure?" Zara's laugh was like the chiming of cosmic bells. "With you? Always." The universe, vast and full of wonders, awaited them. And somewhere in the distant darkness, the remnants of the Void Collective trembled. For when the union of humanity's ingenuity and celestial cosmic power, a new force had been born, one that would reshape the very foundations of existence. Multiversal convergence. The grand hall of the celestial Concordat's Nexus station hummed with an energy that transcended the physical realm. Delegates from across the known universe had gathered for an unprecedented summit, their forms ranging from the familiar humanoid to the utterly alien. At the center of it all stood Jake and Zara, their entwined hands emitting a soft glow that pulsed in harmony with the station's quantum core. Their transformation had not gone unnoticed. Whispers and awed glances followed them everywhere. Representatives of the cosmic community, Zara's voice rang out, resonating at frequencies that touched the very fabric of spacetime. "We stand at a crossroads of existence itself." Jake stepped forward, his eyes swirling with miniature galaxies. "The threat of the Void Collective has been temporarily thwarted, but a greater challenge looms on the horizon." With a gesture, Jake summoned a holographic display that filled the entire hall. It showed a mind-bending visualization of reality itself, countless universes floating in a vast cosmic sea. "Our recent breakthrough hasn't just bridged the gap between human and celestial," Jake explained, his voice carrying the weight of cosmic understanding. "It's opened our eyes to the true nature of the multiverse." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the assembled delegates. Zara picked up where Jake left off, her luminescent form pulsing with urgency. "The Void Collective isn't just a threat to our universe," she said, her starry eyes filled with concern. "They're a multiversal cancer, consuming entire realities, and they're growing stronger." The holographic display zoomed in on a particular section of the multiverse. Entire universes were shown collapsing, consumed by an encroaching darkness that defied description. "But hope is not lost," Jake declared, his voice filled with determination. "Our union, the melding of human ingenuity and celestial cosmic power, has given birth to a new possibility. With another gesture, Jake and Zara joined their free hands. The energy emanating from them intensified, and the holographic display shifted. It now showed streams of light connecting various universes, forming a vast, multi-dimensional network. "We call it the cosmic web," Zara explained, her voice filled with wonder. "A network of quantum entanglement spanning the multiverse. With it, we can unite the forces of creation across all realities." The implications were staggering. The assembled delegates buzzed with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Uniting the multiverse was an idea so grand, so revolutionary, that it bordered on the divine. But not everyone was convinced. From the shadows of the hall, a figure emerged. A being composed of shifting darkness and angular geometries impossible in three-dimensional space. "Fools," the being's voice grated, causing several delegates to clutch their heads in pain. "You meddle with forces beyond your comprehension." Jake and Zara moved in unison, creating a barrier of light that separated the dark entity from the rest of the assembly. "Void emissary," Zara hissed, her form blazing with righteous anger. "Your kind is not welcome here." The void emissary laughed, a sound like the death rattle of galaxies. "We are everywhere and nowhere, little light. Your pitiful cosmic web will only hasten the end of all things." Before anyone could react, the emissary unleashed a blast of unlight, a beam of pure entropic force aimed directly at Jake and Zara. But instead of harming them, the attack seemed to be absorbed into their combined aura. Jake's eyes widened in realization. "Zara," he whispered, "I think I understand now. The void, the light, they're all part of the same cosmic equation." Zara nodded, comprehension dawning on her radiant face. "Balance," she breathed. "It's all about balance." Moving as one, Jake and Zara began to glow with an intensity that outshone stars. The void emissary shrieked, trying to retreat, but it was too late. Tendrils of light shot out from the couple, enveloping the dark being. What happened next defied the laws of physics as understood by any being in the hall. The void emissary's form began to shift, the darkness giving way to swirls of light and color. In a matter of moments, the entity that had been a harbinger of cosmic doom was transformed into a being of pure, radiant energy. The transformed being blinked, as if awakening from a long nightmare. I remember," it said, its voice now melodious and filled with awe. "I was light once, before the void consumed me." The hall erupted in astonished cheers. Jake and Zara had not just defeated a void emissary, they had redeemed it, showing that even the darkest forces in the cosmos could be brought back to the light. As the excitement settled, Jake addressed the assembly once more. "This is the true power of the cosmic web," he declared. "Not just to connect universes, but to restore balance to the very fabric of existence." Zara continued, her voice filled with passionate determination. "We stand on the brink of a new era. An era where the forces of creation unite across the multiverse to heal the wounds inflicted by the void." The holographic display shifted again, showing a vision of the future, countless beings of all shapes and sizes, their forms glowing with inner light, working together to weave the cosmic web across dimensions. "But we can't do it alone," Jake said, his gaze sweeping across the assembled delegates. "Every species, every civilization has a role to play. Together, we can write a new chapter in the story of existence itself." The hall was silent for a moment as the weight of Jake and Zara's words sank in. Then, slowly at first, but with growing enthusiasm, the delegates began to applaud. The applause built to a thunderous crescendo, a cosmic ovation that seemed to shake the very foundations of reality. As the summit concluded, plans were set in motion. The Cosmic Web Project would be the most ambitious undertaking in the history of sentient life, uniting civilizations across the multiverse in a common cause. But even as hope blossomed, dark forces stirred. The Void Collective, sensing the shift in the cosmic balance, began to mass its forces for a final catastrophic assault. The race was on to complete the cosmic web before the void could consume all of existence. Jake and Zara stood at the heart of it all, their impossible love having blossomed into a force that could reshape the very nature of reality. As they gazed out at the star-studded expanse of space, both knew that their greatest challenges and greatest adventures still lay ahead. Ready to save the multiverse? Jake asked, a hint of his old roguish grin playing on his lips. Zara's answering smile was like the birth of a new galaxy. With you, I'm ready for anything. Hand in hand, the hybrid beings of human ingenuity and celestial cosmic power prepared to face their destiny. The fate of all existence hung in the balance, and the final battle for the soul of the multiverse was about to begin. Harmonic convergence. The cosmic web pulsed with ethereal energy, its multidimensional strands stretching across the vast expanse of the multiverse. At its nexus stood Jake and Zara, their forms now barely recognizable as the human and celestial they once were. They had become living conduits of cosmic force, their consciousness expanded to encompass realities beyond mortal comprehension. It's time, Jake's voice resonated across countless dimensions. The Void Collective is making its final push. Zara's luminescent form shimmered with determination. Then we shall meet them with the combined light of 1,000,000,000,000 universes. Across the multiverse, civilizations prepared for the ultimate confrontation. Species that had once been bitter enemies now stood side by side, united against the encroaching darkness. The cosmic web hummed with the collective will of countless beings, all focused on a single purpose: survival. In the space between realities, the Void Collective gathered its forces. A writhing mass of anti-existence, it seemed to devour the very concept of being as it approached. At its heart pulsed a singularity of pure entropy, the antithesis of all creation. As the two cosmic forces clashed, the fabric of reality itself began to warp and tear. Entire universes winked out of existence in the blink of an eye, while others were born in explosive bursts of creative energy. Jake and Zara moved as one, directing the flow of the cosmic web's power. Streams of pure creation lanced out, meeting the tendrils of the void in spectacular collisions that sent shockwaves across the multiverse. But even as they fought, Jake sensed something was amiss. Zara, he called out, his voice carrying across the quantum foam of spacetime, something's not right. The void, it's not just destroying, it's consuming. Zara's starry eyes widened in realization. Of course. Jake, we've been looking at this all wrong. The void isn't our enemy, it's part of the cosmic cycle. In that moment of clarity, everything changed. Jake and Zara ceased their assault, instead reaching out with their expanded consciousness to touch the very heart of the Void Collective. What they found there defied description. Within the singularity of entropy pulsed the seeds of new creation, waiting to be born. The void wasn't a force of destruction, but a cosmic recycler, breaking down old realities to make way for new ones. We need to restore the balance, Jake declared, his voice filled with newfound purpose. Zara nodded, her form pulsing with excitement. Not fight the void, but dance with it. Their revelation rippled across the cosmic web, reaching every being engaged in the cosmic battle. Confusion gave way to understanding, and then to a collective epiphany that reshaped the very nature of existence. Jake and Zara began to move in a complex pattern, their energies intertwining in a cosmic choreography. The Void Collective, sensing the shift, responded in kind. What had been a battle became a dance, a swirling vortex of creation and dissolution that encompassed the entire multiverse. As the dance continued, something miraculous began to happen. The sharp divisions between light and dark, creation and destruction, began to blur. The cosmic web and the Void Collective started to merge, forming a new cosmic structure of unimaginable complexity and beauty. Beings across the multiverse watched in awe as reality reshaped itself around them. They found themselves not obliterated, but transformed, their consciousness expanding to embrace both the light of creation and the renewal of the void. At the heart of it all, Jake and Zara's forms began to shift once more. They were no longer merely hybrid beings of human and celestial, but something entirely new, living embodiments of the cosmic balance itself. As the dance reached its crescendo, a blinding flash of light engulfed the entirety of existence. When it faded, the multiverse had been reborn. The strict boundaries between universes had dissolved, replaced by a flowing, ever-changing cosmic landscape where creation and renewal existed in perfect harmony. Jake and Zara found themselves back on Earth, standing hand in hand on the same rooftop where they had first confessed their feelings. But Earth, like everything else, had been transformed. The sky shimmered with the visible strands of the new cosmic structure, a constant reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. "We did it," Jake breathed, his eyes still swirling with galaxies, but now holding a warmth that was purely human. Zara smiled, her luminescence pulsing with joy. "No, my love, we all did it. Every being in every reality, working together in cosmic harmony." As news of the transformation spread, Earth erupted in celebration. Humanity, along with every other species in the new cosmic order, had entered a new era of existence. The barriers between science and spirituality, between the physical and the metaphysical, had been broken down. In the days that followed, Jake and Zara became teachers, helping beings across the cosmos understand and navigate their new reality. They told their story, the tale of a human and a celestial whose love had quite literally changed the universe, inspiring countless others to explore the infinite possibilities of existence. But even as they embraced their new roles, Jake and Zara knew their greatest adventure was just beginning. The transformed multiverse was vast and full of wonders, waiting to be explored. One evening, as they stood watching a sunset that seemed to encompass all of reality, Jake turned to Zara with a grin. "So, where to next?" Zara's laugh was like the chiming of cosmic bells. "My dear Jake, don't you know by now? Everywhere. We're going everywhere." Hand in hand, the cosmic couple stepped off the rooftop, their forms dissolving into pure energy as they set off to explore the infinite wonders of their reborn multiverse. Their love story, which had begun with a simple act of human courage, had become the catalyst for the greatest transformation in the history of existence. And somewhere, in the swirling cosmic dance of creation and renewal, the essence of what had once been the Void Collective pulsed with newfound purpose. For in the end, it too had found its place in the grand cosmic ballet, a vital part of the ever-unfolding story of existence. The tale of Jake and Zara, the human and the celestial who reshaped reality, would be told and retold across countless realities for eons to come. It stood as a testament to the power of love, courage, and the indomitable spirit of life itself, a cosmic love story written across the very fabric of existence. As that energy forms danced among newborn stars and fading galaxies, Jake and Zara's final message resonated across the transformed multiverse. In the grand cosmic dance, we are all one. Embrace the light, welcome the dark, for in perfect balance lies the true beauty of existence. Our story is your story, and together we write the endless tale of the cosmos. And so, dear viewers, as we close this chapter of the cosmic courtship, remember that your own cosmic story is just beginning. In every choice, every act of courage, every moment of love, you too are shaping the universe. The dance goes on, and you are all invited to join.